Hello and welcome to a Topic a Month podcast where we take one topic a month and split it into weekly segments, as you might have heard from the previous podcast episodes. Sometimes we'll go throw out a minicast and see how that fares with the public. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but I don't know because there aren't too many comments praising or condemning. So, if you'd be a deer or a moose, hop on it and throw us some meaningless gold stars on iTunes or give us a like on Facebook. That seems to be the preferred method for spewing hatred and idiocy. This month's topic is conspiracy theories, from the ever-popular JFK assassination to why socks always disappear in the dryer, something that even science can't explain. Today we're on the road, the beautiful town of Grand Marais, Minnesota, where the sunsets are gorgeous and the air is cool. In the makeshift studio today, coming from across the internet via Skype program, is Mr. Mike, longtime DM and full-time ass kicker. Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thanks a lot there, buddy. It's been a long time since you and I have talked.
It has been a long time. Oh, man, I don't even know the last time we get to see each other really in person. Must have been like way before I moved down to Duluth. It's probably been 6 years at least.
God, I think you and I were still playing D&D in your basement.
Probably. Yeah, so it's probably been like closer to 6, maybe 7. It's been a long damn time.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, if you're still wondering, that white dice that you hated has killed more players than I can count now.
Oh, fucking good. Good. It's always nice to have a good dice on hand.
Yes.
So what you been up to, sir?
Not much. I've been working up here in Grand Portage. Just been kind of doing that and nerding out any chance I can get.
Right on. So what edition are you on now? 5th ed, you said?
Yeah, we're on 5th edition right now. We've been playing that for a while, both on the live stream and in our personal games. We're kind of thinking about switching it up for the personal game, but until the adventure is over on the live stream, we're going to be sticking with 5th edition.
So the last ed I played was 3.5, which was basically just the 3rd ed with some tweaks done to it. And I've heard about 4th ed being kind of wishy-washy. How is 5th ed?
Well, 5th edition kind of takes it back to the old version before 3.5, before 3, going into the old 2.5 edition, where it was less of a feat machine. If you remember in 3.5, like every 2 or 3 levels, there was a feat, there was a bonus feat, especially if you're a human.
Right.
Things like that. Feats are still a thing, and they're more of, if you have a feat, you really feel the feat. It's not like, okay, start level 1, fighter, power attack, cleave, and go on and so forth. The feats now are a little bit more special. Those old feats like cleave and power attack, those have been introduced into characters instead of, they come with the character instead of having to spend outright other points and feats to gain that kind of stuff. Like the fighter now is just a massive wrecking machine.
So do you get it like right away when you choose fighter? You have all basically the feats right
pretty
away,
much,
or
you gain all these things while you're going up, and with now 3rd level is usually a big key thing for every class straight down, because then you get to choose your branching paths. For a fighter, you get to choose from like champion, gladiator, and the eldritch knight. Instead, now you have things like combat maneuvers, disarming attack, tripping attack, power attack, your cleaves. With the eldritch knight, then now you get to mix. Now you get a spell sword. Now so you don't have to go to the old 3.5 complete warrior, complete mage. There's you don't have to go through 18 other expanded books just to find some stuff.
Right.
And now I never got a chance to play one in 3.5, but I've got to play it in 5th edition, and it is by far my favorite class. The Bard is awesome.
Are they really?
Oh yes, the Bard is the greatest thing it's so broken, especially in combat. You suck.
Well, yeah, naturally.
Out of combat, you're God. They have so many abilities that are for out of combat, to the point where I've talked my way into straight and meeting right up with the boss. We've been able to kill him without much, and the whole party disappears. The whole rest of the enemies just disperse because I can talk my way into anything now.
So nobody really expects the loot player or the liar player, and it turns out they're just completely badass in every other aspect of the game, but that 20-minute fight sequence that you're actually in.
Well, the bard that I am, yes. When you hit third level, then you get to choose your bardic college. If you choose valor, then you get all of your weapon skills. Then you get your more combat oriented, and your bardic inspiration is I give you bardic inspiration, which means you get to roll a dice and add to your attack, or you can add to your chance to hit, or add to your damage.
Right.
With a lore bard, I get more magic. I get more magic starting off. I get more access to spells, and my bardic inspiration is used to stop the enemies. I take away from the enemies hit. So if they roll a 17, I'd be like, nah, I'm using my cutting words, which means I just insult you, and I lower your dice roll. And the same thing goes with damage. So
that is like really overpowered even with that. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do this now so you guys can basically fuck off for the entire fight, and then just raise everybody else's hopes on your side, and then they just dominate.
Pretty much, because it's basically, this dragon's gonna hit you. What's your AC? 16. Well, it rolled an 18. I'm using my cutting words. All I got to do is use my reaction. I'm like, I roll, because right now I'm at level 6, which means I roll a d8 and I minus, or whatever I roll is minus off the roll. So I could literally take 8 away from your roll.
Fuck.
And if you play with it enough, and you kind of, especially with the feats like I have, an actor feat, as long as I hear you talk for a minute, I can completely mimic your speech. So I can talk like somebody else. Pass myself off as somebody else, talk my way through, and they have a big role. They have to make a big roll before they can see through me.
Yeah.
But this is the only time I've ever seen a non-combat class have more spells than any other spell casting class at first level. I get 6 more. I think like 5 or 6 more spells than a sorcerer does at first level. And once I hit 6th level, I get 2 free spells from any book.
Fucking that is just spell. Overpowered.
Yeah.
But it's good overpowered. I suppose it would suck if the bad guy has if he's deaf or something like that, and he can't really hear what the hell's going on. But yeah, it would be bad for him to be deaf against everybody else, but it'd be good to be deaf against the bard. So what do you got for a conspiracy theory? What's your favorite conspiracy theory out there? Something that's just like, it's kind of fun, it's hokey, but you just like, it could be pretty cool. I think I'm going to go along with it just because it's neat.
There's so many, and I have a couple friends up here in Portage, and we do that a lot of the time when we're not gaming out or we're not going out and partying or whatever. We, talk about conspiracy theories. And when I first started talking to him, I was very, it was very hard to believe a lot of this stuff. And more and more I started listening and paying attention, the more and more a lot of this stuff, starts to make sense, and it's really weird. But as far as my favorite ones, gotta go with lizard people. The lizard people one is always a good one. And I've seen some of the videos and a lot of the evidence, and whether it's true or not, it's just weird, especially like where they, I see the evidence video. I've never seen the real video, so I don't know if like their eyes do change or anything like that. But it's always been kind of an interesting one. The flat Earth, that's kind of an interesting one, and that's the one I kind of like because there's a lot of information coming in from so many different areas that kind of support this, and I actually haven't seen a whole lot of disproving of that, but oh, there's some great ones. What are some of yours?
The top of my list is it's definitely going to be the Area 51 Roswell incident back in 47 out in New Mexico. That one to me is hands down like my favorite conspiracy theory. I mean, there's a lot out there like the CIA went after JFK or Bush did 9/11. There's even the smaller ones as well that just kind of you hear talk of it but you don't really get into it. Like the the Area 51 is just it's huge. Everybody in America knows about it.
Oh yeah. Have
And,
you ever been out to Roswell?
no, I haven't. I haven't been out there, but I want to eventually go out to Roswell. And the what the hell was it? The black mailbox, I think it is at
Yep.
that intersection. I want to see that as well, just to go out there
Now,
and say you saw it.
I have not been to the Black Mailbox, but I will say, on a trip through Arizona, me and my parents, we drove through. We did go and stop at Roswell, New Mexico,
Lucky.
and everything is a fucking alien.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everything. It gets so. It was really cool because I was really young at the time, and oh, they completely absorbed that into their culture, and to me, I'm convinced that they are convinced that it's real.
Oh, yeah, they are definitely convinced that it's real. I mean,
And
even if they're go ahead.
they talk so passionately about this because, of course, I went to like the Air and Space Nautical Museum and the Roswell museums and stuff like that while we were there, and I want to believe that it's true because they're so adamant about it that I want to believe them because I don't want them to, all of a sudden find out, hey, it's not true, and their entire way of living for the last 50 years is shot in the shit.
it it would be fun. It would really be fun to go out there and check everything out because it's. I mean, there's obviously going to be really hokey stuff. Like I'm sure they've got inflatable aliens that you would win at like the carnival or something like that, and they got all
They
those
do, and
awesome fake
a lot of
videos.
them are like stapled or somehow glued to the side of their walls of the shops.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
There was one like hanging on a barber pole, like just one hanging on a barber pole as it spins. You know, they're everywhere. I don't remember seeing a building that didn't have that big green alien with the big black eyes.
yeah, yeah. The standard little green men or the grays, as they
Yep.
call them in some places. They're always like really short too. I've noticed they're portrayed as like around 4.5 feet tall, but every now and then you'll see like the tall, slender ones that they have out there.
Oh,
It
oh
look
God, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that.
The
Um,
South Park ones,
yeah,
the aliens from South Park.
yeah, really
Murmur,
tall,
murmur,
thin,
murmur.
and slender. Um, yeah, I think definitely Area 51 and Roswell. That's hands down my favorite. I mean, there's you can go through the list. I mean, even the like in TV shows like X Files for me. I love X Files. It's probably the best, if not one of the best sci-fi shows out there. But it's just like every episode is conspiracy theory stuff, and it's
Oh, absolutely.
awesome. There's just the acting in it's great, the premise is great, and you just eat it up. But that was one of the really big ones. Is the throughout the entire series is based around that. It's based around aliens coming down and creating a new civilization. So there's everything else that's around it, like Bigfoot or the Mothman, or those. There was one episode where they went out to like Washington or something, and there was these bugs that would end up coming out every like 500 years or something, and they would just destroy all the wildlife in the area, except for the fauna. And they ended up like cocooning them or something and then just eating through the people's flesh. Anyway, it's a really good episode. I'll see if I can put it up there on the show notes. But yeah, every episode of the X Files is just filled with conspiracy theories. So I really ate that up when I was a kid.
And now it's devolved into reality TV shows where you have Bigfoot hunters, alien hunters, ghost hunters.
Yeah, yeah. Like the ghost hunters would be really neat. Alien hunters would be pretty cool, but that's basically just because I'm a sucker for that, obviously, since I like
Oh, absolutely.
Area 51 so much. But yeah, I haven't really gotten a chance to watch anything beyond like every now and then a Bigfoot
You
hunters
can
thing.
avoid Finding Bigfoot. If you haven't seen that show, you can avoid it.
I'm thinking that's the one that I've watched, and it's really hokey too. Like
That's the
it's
one where there's literally a guy who's really big, kind of fat, and his name is Bobo.
really,
Yeah, and they do squatch calls where it's just like banging wood together or like. It basically sounds like a Tusken Raider or one of the dudes from the Sand People from Star Wars.
yeah. So they're not even like giving any good information about it. They're just copying Star Wars and whacking some sticks together.
Basically, like they have the idea. It's like they try to really make it seem like they're doing legitimate things. Like they have these town meetings and they get these good, all the stories from the people, and then they take like two or three of them and try to recreate that or go to that exact same location and try to hear something. And the most you hear is like someone doing the Tusken Raider, the Sand People scream, and then you hear like a little blurb out in like 7 miles away, and it's like, did you hear that? Oh, that was a squatch.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we got squatch evidence. Yeah,
and you can't even
it
pick it
just
up on their shitty microphones that they have. Like, come on, you guys could just be sitting there filming the guy smacking some sticks together and say, "Oh yeah, we heard something off in the distance, about 10 miles away." Nah, nothing picked it up, and you can just be saying that, and I'm pretty
oh
sure
yeah.
somebody would be fucking with you too.
And I know people at work absolutely love the hell out of that show, and I can't sit with them. It's just, oh my god. They even did an episode. I don't know where, but I know it's in southern Minnesota, but they did a Minnesota episode
I'm sure they
where
did.
and it's just I think there was supposed to be like a Ghost Hunters or a Ghost Adventures episode. I think there's a Ghost Adventures episode in Duluth. I think Ghost Hunters came up towards here, and now we got Bigfoot Hunters up here. I'm like, oh god.
I bet you they did the Glen Sheen Mansion, which is supposed to be really famous and haunted, but of course, yeah, I mean, it brings the tourists in, and it's a really nice,
I'm not
awesome mansion.
I'm
But
not sure if they did the Glensheen Mansion. I think they were actually doing an abandoned insane asylum. That's way out of the way. Kind of, it's a weird road system. Like I've looked it up, and it's this weird hospital. It's like 12 miles in Duluth, but nothing is around it. It's like the one place in Duluth where there's nobody around.
yeah, no, I
And
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they did end up doing public tours for it. Fortunately, I worked both jobs that day, so I wasn't able to go down and take a look at all the creepy shit. But
damn,
yeah, I know I should have taken pictures too. But they finally opened it up to the public for I think maybe like a week tops. I'll have to look into it a little bit, but it I guess it's really cool. I mean, I've never been in it. I don't think I've even seen pictures of it, but I know exactly where it is.
yeah, I'd
Yeah,
be totally down to go down.
it's like 12 miles in Duluth city limits, but it's like 2 miles, 3 miles out of Duluth, but it's within the city limits, so they still call it Duluth even
Yeah,
though it's like Proctor Cloquet area.
they found the one place in Duluth that's the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, really, and that's it. There's like a road and then Highway 35, and then that's it. And there's really nothing
Yep.
out there. But I guess they got some guy like doing security around the place, and fuck that job. Like, I don't even care if it's not haunted or anything. No thanks. There's bear
You're
and
by
shit.
yourself in pitch darkness with nothing but your mag flashlight and some pepper spray.
Yeah, no thanks. I mean, come on, a bear isn't gonna fuck your shit up if it comes by. Come on, you give me.
Even if you didn't see any wild animals and it is haunted, I mean, either way, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah, like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Ghost came out and got me. What'd you do? Well, I had to shine my light at it and then fucking run. Like, what am I gonna do? Throw it at it? It's gonna go right through. It's a ghost, stupid. Like, give me fucking a Ghostbuster thing. Come on.
Yeah, where's my proton pack?
Yeah,
You
fucking,
know,
I'm not putting
otherwise
up
I'm
with this
going through
shit.
two movements. I'm going through a physical movement and I'm going through a bowel movement.
That's it. You're shitting your
I'm gonna
pants and
shit
running.
and run.
Oh man. What else do we got for, like, they got the Bigfoot one, so we've covered that for the television shows. But man, I don't. Oh, what the
Boy,
hell
I
was it?
mean,
Ancient
at
aliens.
at this point in time, with especially with the internet as big as it is, there's a conspiracy theory about damn near everything.
Yeah, no, really there is.
From mythical beasts to political events to government, factions, you name it. There's a conspiracy, at least three of them on them.
No, really there is too. I mean, I like the government ones just because I'm a little wary of any kind of government, and mostly because it's kind of neat. Because
Oh yeah.
when you say the government, you're encompassing the entire government of the United States. I mean, everything, Congress, the
Oh,
judicial system, the whole 9 yards.
oh yeah. Where it's there's false flag attacks and we're bombing ourselves. I mean, it gets the rabbit hole goes 80 miles deep on those things.
Yeah, yeah, and there's always these conspiracy cover-up stuff like this happened, and then the government came in and they said it was a train accident and blah blah blah. And
Oh yeah. And it's weird because do you remember at a time before, like, when we were still rocking dial-up and these people would talk about it? These are the people we would think that, wearing tinfoil hats on the street corner. And now a lot of that stuff that they're talking about really makes you think. Like, it's a weird, prerogative where one decade you're batshit insane and take your tinfoil hat and go away from me, to I want to talk to this person because this person might know something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And and when I talk, when I go over to my buddy's apartment, because he's like right next door to me, which is kind of cool, and I didn't actually have to go anywhere to go. I only go to like 3 places: work and 2 of my friends' houses.
Right.
But and a lot of the stuff, still sounds a lot really far fetched to me. But I can't stop listening and doing, paying attention to this, and because if I'm wrong, and this shit actually is a thing, I want to be prepared. It's more of like, okay, the 9/11's inside job, the government's, Illuminati, New World Order, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If they're all wrong, then no harm. But if they're right, and all of this, black market, shady deal shit is going on, I would like to be prepared.
Well, it's a good place to be prepared too. I mean, Portage is it's in the middle of nowhere. I mean,
oh yeah, we're 10 miles away from the Canadian border, and shit, I don't think anything would happen up there.
No, Canada's so nice and peaceful, unless that's what they want us to think.
Yeah, exactly. See,
no place is safe.
I'm gonna have to get. Where's my tinfoil?
You got to get the heavy duty stuff, man. That's what keeps up the brainwaves.
When we were talking about doing this episode, I thought a tinfoil hat was going to be prepared for me. So if I mysteriously vanish, I'm pretty sure it's because those black Apaches that everybody talks about is coming down to get me.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that too. No markings on them, and they're just flying around, picking people up, and yeah.
And it's either that or we're gonna get a heavy dose of chemtrails over my apartment sky tonight.
Yeah, super concentrated.
Yep.
What was the other one that I kind of like? But on the government conspiracy stuff is fluoride in the drinking water. No, yes, there's fluoride in the drinking water. It is basically inert. except for helping keep your teeth clean. But there's that conspiracy going around that it's actually like a mind control device that's
Yep.
actually in there. It's that chemical that really, really mellows a person out so that way they don't want to overthrow the government, so that way the government can stay in power or those who are ruling it. So
I read about that. It's supposed to shut off the pineal gland, which is, I guess, it's in your brain and it's connected to your third eye. And what that does is it's supposed to calcify the third eye so you stay blind to all of this stuff as, they're allowed to continue to do their seedy underbelly things.
right.
Uh, that's definitely looked into that one quite a bit, and God, I hope none of it's true, and I hope I'm just one of the nuts with a tinfoil hat.
Well, at least you get a tinfoil hat anyway. Um, Man, yeah, there's just a ton of information out
Well,
there.
here's a question then, because I mean, I assume that you've looked into a lot of things, from a broad spectrum.
Right.
Maybe not so much in a lot of detail, but enough to kind of get the idea of what a lot of this is going through. Now, what are some of the ones that you actually believe in?
Well, I can't say that I really do believe in any of them wholeheartedly. I have to take everything with a grain of salt right away. I mean,
Oh,
if it
absolutely.
if it sounds like it's a little goofy, like the Area 51 thing. I mean, yeah, when I was a kid, like, oh man, definitely, it's got to be that. There's got to be aliens over there and that crashed in 47, and they have the bodies and they have the spacecraft, and I mean, we can't absolutely know what happened in 1947 because for me, news, it was not nearly as good and as prevalent then as it is now. And maybe not so much news, but information and how widely spread it can get right away. Um, and given that it was a test site for some really fancy planes,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably more likely that it was just one of our planes that we didn't want anybody to know about, considering it was essentially the Cold War has just begun and we want to keep our spy planes and the weather balloon stuff and blah, blah, blah. But there's some pretty relatively good information behind what the government had said. They gave two different statements, one that was kind of refuting it, one that wasn't really refuting it. So that was kind of a weird thing for them to do. And then there's that conspiracy, why they did that. They did it in other places as well. But
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
and if a lot of this stuff isn't true, going back to Area 51 and a lot of these other conspiracy theories, if none of this is true, they have a horrible way of going about it because they are not good with press releases.
No,
They're
no,
always
definitely not.
changing their tune. They're always, oh, it's this. Oh, wait, it wasn't this. It was more like this. And they can say an hour's worth of stuff, but never say a thing. And you
Yeah,
just leave confused. And I'm like, what the hell did I just listen to for a half hour? I know nothing about what was said, and I'm more irritated than when I started the video,
yeah,
kind
there's
of
a
thing.
lot of
And
double speak, so that way they can get you to pay attention to the words, but not the actual meaning that's behind them, and just run around in circles with it.
you know, and it doesn't do them any bit of good.
No, no, it really doesn't, because especially now when you can review the information that has been given to you, like you can kind of tell that, well, this is not really anything that's pertinent to what we want to know about. And you're just kind of saying words back and forth, not really giving any new information.
And I always think that before their speech, they have their speech written out, and they have a thesaurus next to it, and they're like, okay, let's replace that word with this big word that only 20% of the population understands. Let's take this word out and replace it with this one, and they use such fancy lingo that common people are not going to speak in their daily life.
No,
and they're
no, not at
always
all.
confused about it.
Yeah, when you use big words that sound fancy, it's going to give people a lot of, like, yeah, that sounds smart. I'm going to go with that. Even though I really don't know what it means. They're just going to start nodding their heads along with it. Like, yeah, yeah, definitely. And that comes into
Exactly.
a lot of political BS when they're not really trying to get to the point of a topic. They're just saying all the words.
They are experts at talking around a subject.
Yeah, yeah.
They really are. If they were all lawyers, I don't think anybody would get thrown in jail.
No, no, definitely not.
But since there's nothing that that you can for say, and a lot of this stuff, what you were saying is right. Until somebody just comes out and says, "Okay, this is what actually happened," and has all of this stuff, we're never gonna know if the 9/11 was an inside job, or if aliens existed in and crashed in Area 51,
Right.
or the JFK assassination. We'll never really know. But damn, do we rack our brains trying to find this shit out? And some people really rack their brains. I have seen people who are like damn near like the old fashioned cop, where they have the strings attached to everything.
Yeah,
And
that's another thing that I like about conspiracy theories. There's always that one guy that has like this really random newspaper clipping from this very small town in like Indiana or something that's just 500 miles away from the place where whatever is going on, and he's just got it pinned up there along with like the grandmother of the kid that had seen the whatever the hell it was in this weird audio recording that's not really on cassette, but whatever came before that, like the old magnetic tape and the reel, so you have to plug it into this giant machine. But yeah, there's always the old cop that kind of has that going on with everything, and then you step
all of
back and you see the whole wall, and it's all around this one person, and it's always somebody high up in the government.
all this detective work, and nobody has decided to be Batman in real life. I'm very
Yeah,
disappointed in this world.
I know. Like, come on, why don't you just be a billionaire for Christ's sake? Just get on it. Invent some neat
I
stuff.
I had seen a picture, and it just thought that up. There's like, and it said there's 140 billionaires in the world, and not one of them has decided to be Batman.
Yeah, come on, you lazy fucks. Get on it.
Yeah, you got all this money. Come on. And if you don't want to be Batman, give the money to somebody who does. Come on, I've been wishing for superpowers since I was like 3. If I can't have
Yeah,
it, I might as well be Batman. Just saying.
that's
There's no toxic waste or gamma radiation over here in Portage, so I'm not getting superpowers that way.
no,
You
no,
know,
no, probably
give me the
not.
gadgets then.
I'd take gadgets over that. Billions of dollars? Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, at least you can drive around a cool car or something and live at a really, really, really nice place. And you can just wrap the whole house in tinfoil when you're done.
There you go.
Perfect.
Keep them radio waves and those scanners and all that shit away from you. You'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I
But
think this.
getting back on point, considering I have a horrible thing with when it comes to ranting, but is of all the ones
Fine.
that you've looked at, is there any that you want to believe is true?
Well, yeah. I mean, my favorite one. It's got to be the alien one. I mean, the aliens have been here before and they are here currently. This is more of an all-encompassing one that I mean that they've actually been here. I mean, for how big the universe is, for how big our solar system is, the galaxy, the local supercluster, and so on, it is highly improbable that we are the only life forms in the entire universe. Doesn't
Oh,
mean that it's not true, but it's just improbable. But
and I fully agree. I fully believe that we are not the most intelligent life on the planet. Come on, we created NASCAR. We cannot be the most intelligent species on the planet.
it's true. We did
There,
create
there,
NASCAR.
we've created reality television, American Idol, and shit like that. it feels weird because I looked at a history of our species and the jumps that we have made technologically speaking, when we go from a rock wheel to fire to steam to combustion engines to electricity, and going through all these things. It's only been in in our last 100 years that we I don't know, it kind of feels like we've given up. Like everything is now, going back to Batman, gadgets. Nobody's really creating the next big thing. We have a lot, there's always little things like the Tesla cars, or
Right.
we're gonna try to go back to the moon because for some reason we lost the technology to go back to the moon, and
There,
that goes into another conspiracy theory too. But
there hasn't
um,
been so many huge leaps and bounds. It's been like one every few hundred years, and hopefully our next one's coming up. But the way things are
the
going,
last thing we came out with smartphones, and as much as I love my iPhone, meh, I'm pretty sure we could have done without that.
yeah. No, I'm pretty sure we could have done without smartphones. They're super nice to have, but they really kind of keep us in line and facing
Oh
downwards and
yeah,
not looking outwards.
keep you looking down.
Yeah. But yeah,
You know, and,
I don't know. How about you? What's one that you are absolutely dead set on?
besides mythical creatures like the Mothman and aliens, if I not including those, because I fully believe that all of those exist. I believe there's a Mothman, there's a Jersey Devil, there's.
There's
I
one I
don't.
haven't heard in a long time. The Jersey Devil. Holy
Oh,
Christ.
oh yeah, we're going back old school on that one. Um, the Mothman, and then you go where, especially with anything with dark occult. I like looking at it, but I can only look at it so much before I get a little weirded out. Um, but there was one that we were talking about, me and my neighbor, and it kind of goes inside with the whole flat Earth thing. But there's supposedly a dome around our surface of what we're living in. Have you heard about these ones?
I haven't heard about this conspiracy theory, no.
Okay, what about flat Earth?
Oh, Flat Earth. Yeah, yeah, I've definitely heard
Okay.
that one.
Now, supposedly, it does coincide with the flat Earth, that we are a flat and we have this giant impenetrable dome around us.
Right.
Well, supposedly. Supposedly every country has fired nukes straight up into the air to see if they could break this. They call it a firmament. They go to biblical text for that, and I am not a real religious person, so I use it mainly for the word, not the religious powers behind that.
Right.
Um, and I'm actually like almost done listening to that episode because for some reason iTunes only gives you to episode 7.
On whose?
Your guys' podcast.
Well, that
That night,
sucks.
that night that we were gonna do it, and you fell asleep. By the way, I can't blame you because I love my naps too.
Fuck, man,
I'm an
I'm
old,
telling you,
I'm an
naps.
old bastard like you, so.
It
Oh,
was all the work from the previous like month and a half, and just finally
and you're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna sleep.
just crash as much as you can. Like, I only planned on sleeping like half an hour, so I think we started at like, I don't know, two
That's usually what
thirty.
I do when I get home from work. But no,
Just
and
sleeping
and
all
I
night.
was listening to your podcast, and for some reason, it only go or the first number it comes up to is episode 7, and it's the what was it? The meaning of life.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll have to
But
uh, I'll have to throw some rocks over at iTunes and see what's going on over there. See if I can get in it via third party.
but now going back to the firmament, supposedly, now I've actually, I when we were talking about doing this, I went up and I got a whole bunch of information about this. Um, in this whole thing, that the way that we see the Earth, like how we drew in our geography classes, are completely wrong. That the Earth is flat, we have this firmament over it, and what's surrounding this entire firmament is Antarctica. Um, there's a lot of Antarctica is a big thing to this particular set of theories.
Right.
That beyond this, beyond Antarctica, is how did he put it? He basically used Thor from the Marvel movie Thor's um, ideals, where we're not a planet, we're more of a realm. Where beyond this is more a more advanced civilization, and a lot of the technology that we have now comes from that. There is way back in, I believe it is World War II. There was B, um, uh, I think he was a British naval officer named William Byrd. Yep, here it is. In
Yeah.
1946, he was going to explore. He was trying to explore for the South Pole, and he comprised of an aircraft carrier, 12 warships, a submarine, and 20 airplanes and helicopters, and a crew of 4,000 men. After or while they were searching through this, they he was the first person to really talk about this invisible wall. Kind of, think of it like a video game where you're
Right.
running through and all of a sudden you can see there's a ton of shit beyond it, but you can't go past any further. And he was noticing that his planes were flying and just suddenly exploding, like they were crashing into something. And he had stopped all of his he stopped going forward and he tried to walk up to it, and he fell into this kind of cavern in Antarctica. And when he came to, he woke up and it was a giant oasis, trees, hot weather, warm water, salt water, and all of things that you don't think that would ever be in Antarctica. And he, in his report, he had stated that he had met with a being that he only consider they only called him the master. And this being said that he has been chosen as a ambassador for our people to talk to the US government, or basically the entire world government,
Right.
about this. And this is around the time when it was like or we were talking about with Area 51, like they were testing out the B-52 bombers and all the stealth stuff. They were really trying. This was because this was towards the end of World War II, going into the Cold War, and they were really talking. They were doing a lot of stuff with that, and they were talking about, or Bird was talking about that. They saying that these people were going to come. They didn't say if it were going to be a hostile or a peaceful thing, but they were going to make themselves known. And not soon after that, what he explained, what we all think now as the flying saucer or the UFO, shot out of the Antarctic ice and flew away and disappeared. Um, he doesn't know where, of course, because he never met this master again. But from that point on, he was convinced that there was something beyond Antarctica, beyond this firmament, and he spent the rest of his life trying to get in through, trying to find out more, but there wasn't, at least through the internet, I couldn't find a whole lot more about this. But there's little bits and pieces throughout history that talk about this. Have you ever heard of Libyan desert glass?
That I have not.
Okay, now the theory continues with this, that the firmament has been broken through the other side. Something has broken it from the outside in. This Libyan desert glass is comprised of a lot, some meteorite. Let's see here. It is like cubic zirconia, that kind of really hard glass.
Yep.
It is also has vaporized quartz, meteor type metals, and it's got such a huge melting point without putting as close up to like a jet engine on crack. Like they had to turn it up way past a that as hot as a jet engine can burn, and this shit still wouldn't melt. They have no explanation of where it comes through, but
Weird.
the theory is that these things have hit the outs. It's This firmament is a lot harder on the inside than on the outside. Think The Simpsons. Like the Simpsons movie when they put the giant glass dome over um, Springfield,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that is or apparently Simpsons is huge for this, a lot of the stuff, because they talk about all of this stuff. You've seen the picture of the cover where it's the New Yorker and it's got a 9 on it for cents, but then the two towers are back there, saying 9/11. Or in one of the episodes, they walk past the cemetery and there's Michael Jackson's grave, and it's got the same exact years same exact year and damn near close to the same exact date
Yeah,
of
I've
when he
seen that they
died.
they end up calling this stuff like 10, 20 years ahead of time, and you'll see it pop up on somewhere like on Reddit or on Facebook, and you'll see, Simpsons called it 20 years ago. We knew this was going to happen. They know something.
Exactly, and a lot of this, it's really interesting, but it gets really stressful when you're trying to search one topic and it ends up branching out into 100 more
Yeah,
theories.
yeah, yeah.
But this Libyan desert glass comes through and impacts the sand in Libya with great force. Doesn't burn, but we're not we, just by talking about it, we are probably the billionth not species but nation that's talked about it. Tribes and nations and peoples, in the past have all depicted the Earth as a flat surface with a dome.
Right.
From Nordic mythology, Celtic mythology, Native American history, Aztecs, Mayans, Incas, they all perceive, when you look at a picture of the world, they always perceive it with a dome over it. And what is supposed to be beyond the dome is the entrance to either heaven or another realm. And I want to believe it because it sounds really cool. And it's more of, I don't want all of the time that I've spent looking at it to be for nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of investment behind it too. There really is.
And so it's not so much that I want it to be a thing, because then we've been lied to our entire life since birth. Little Aiden sitting on his chair in Saturday morning eating his bowl of hash browns and watching Captain Planet, and you've been taught 1+1 is 2, the Earth is round.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So basically, to shake your entire belief system would be really unnerving for a lot of people. But I kind of want it to be true because I think it'd be really interesting,
No, it
to
really
see
would
how
be.
we go from there. But now, I don't remember, and it happened a couple months ago. It definitely went viral, and it goes back to the aliens. Did you see that video of the green lights in the sky, and then it just kind of blinks out of existence?
If it was recent, I have not. I've seen videos on it, but probably not if it just happened a few months ago. Probably
Okay.
not.
When you get time, and I don't know if you can post links on iTunes, because though I've been doing a podcast, I actually don't know how to or upload to iTunes. After this, I might ask you how you do that.
Sure.
But there's these green lights in the sky, and it's like 3 or 4 of them, just or green floating orbs. And all of a sudden, this green kind of diamond, it basically looks like a rhombus or a diamond, opens up in the sky, and this craft just kind of hovers into this light, and it closes like a door, and it's
Weird.
just gone. Yep, it's really cool. And I mean, it's only like a minute clip or a minute and a half clip, but the reason why that one's kind of powerful to me is that it goes back to this theory that we are just a realm, or we are in a certain one dimension, and these beings, what we believe are aliens, are more of extra dimensional beings.
Something
And that
beyond our own comprehension of time and space, rather.
exactly. Have you ever seen the movie The Fourth Kind?
Oh man, it sounds real familiar, but I
Mila
can't say I have.
Jovovich, Nome, Alaska.
Yeah, is this the one with the owl in it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
where
yeah.
they put the theatrical, like, dramatization of it, and then they
Right.
cut the screen in half and they put the actual video evidence in that.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen
Yep.
that.
And they talk about it too, where it's these what we perceive are aliens are not coming from another planet, but more coming from another dimension. And that once I watched that movie and I started looking more into it, I I was hooked. I just kept diving into the rabbit hole. It got. I think I must have spent a couple weeks into that one, just diving in.
Yeah, they definitely are entertaining, if anything else. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The only one that really made me think, and that was only a couple weeks ago. I'd say about a month and a half ago. It was brought up to me about this whole idea that we're in a Earth and compared to the flat Earth thing. But I want to pose this question to you.
Sure.
Our solar system is traveling through space at 48 million miles an hour, correct? Around that speed.
Yeah, I'd say around there.
Why is it that you have never seen a new set of stars? Why is it that the North Star is always there? If we're traveling that fast through space, how is it that the stars never move except towards the seasons, in which they just kind of rotate a little?
Well, light's a lot faster than the actual speed of our galaxy. So the light that the stars have given off has been going off for billions of years, and it's just now hitting us. So given that light is a lot faster than our speed, I mean, say you got a light that's 20 feet away from you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we already know that light is traveling however fast it is. It's incredibly fast. If it only takes 8 minutes to go from the sun to Earth.
Yep.
And if you're moving away at 10 miles an hour and slowly rotating ever so slowly, considering the light is just basically instantaneous, our North Star has moved and shifted from one star to another. And eventually in the next 100 so years or whatever it is, it's going to shift to a different North Star just because of our slow rotation.
But it just, when you think of stuff like that, it really, it's like you figured we would see a new constellation. I've never heard of a new constellation coming out in the last almost 30 years I've been alive.
Well, no, that's fair. That's fair.
And it's kind of, all of these little things kind of, when you put them together, then it's kind of like just a big ass puzzle. And I want to find all these other little pieces, because right now that's all I've got. I don't even have the borders done yet on this puzzle.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just a curious person, so if I find something that interests me, I will dive headfirst into it. Whether it be gematria or conspiracy theories or Star Wars theories. Don't even get me started on that one.
Oh, man. I love fan fiction Star Wars stuff and Star Trek and everything else like that. It is just awesome.
If you haven't, look at the Stupendous Wave on YouTube. You will be hooked on it like crack, because it's nothing but Star Wars theories, and from canon to non-canon to legends to everything.
Oh.
Your wife's gonna hate me for the next week, but I think I'll live through that.
I'm sure she'll give you a little some grief there, but I think it'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what time do we got? Hey, it is coming up on an hour here. Well, I don't really have anything written for the end of it, but that's all right. We'll just go by the seat of our pants.
Talk about some of your theories. What do some of the ones that you think hold a little weight?
Oh man, I haven't Well, we know one that actually did, because they did come out with it. The CIA's MK Ultra.
Oh yeah, the MK Ultra experiments.
Yeah, with the LSD, and I don't remember what else they were giving them. But they were doing it with black soldiers back in the 60s, 70s from Vietnam.
Yep, this is when they first decided to test it out.
Yeah, and they didn't get consent. So there was always, well, it's obviously that you got to you have to get consent from the soldiers. You have to if you're gonna test new quote unquote medicine. Obviously, it wasn't really medicine; it was LSD.
Yeah, it's
So
like, I want to work on your brain. No. Well,
yeah,
we're going to do it anyway.
exactly. So they just figured, well, we're not gonna ask anybody for their consent, so we're just gonna do it. And we're gonna give them vitamins or whatever the hell that they actually said it was. And there was always that conspiracy that came around that this actually happened. But of course, nobody believed that the government would do something like that, even to their own soldiers. And it turns out, lo and behold, MK Ultra was definitely true.
Yep.
And there is a shit ton of information on that. Not as much as there probably should be, but I believe they did come out and give an apology for it, even though that's a little late in the game to give an apology for something like that. But that was kind of one of my favorites. Something that the government actually did do, and there was proof for it, and they did admit to it, which admittance is probably the last nail in the coffin for it to go from conspiracy to fact. Once you get proof.
And this, especially with that, it's like they talk about, is that still going? Have they moved on from LSD to another form of mind control? And
Yeah.
That's where you start having to look in the deep web, and I'm too much of a chicken shit to go in that one.
Yeah, the deep webs, that's definitely something to stay away from. I mean, if you can mask
I will
your
watch
IP,
the
maybe.
YouTube videos of somebody else going through that.
Yeah, that'll be just fine. So, yeah, if you guys want to get into the deep web, make sure you're using somebody else's computer or a computer at the library. Whew.
Let somebody else. Yeah, go to the public library and go to the deep web.
Yeah. Well, hey, I think that about wraps it up. We got a couple of minutes left here. We're gonna do our outro so that way everybody knows where they can find us. Mike, do you got anything you need to plug?
Yeah. I have with my friend Drew and our potato known as Spud. We have a Twitch channel. We play. It's called DMs and Dice Bags. It's going to go on tomorrow night at around 6:15. We're going to start on Twitch, and we're going to be continuing our live stream of Tales from the Yawning Portal. Basically, the last 30 years of Dungeons and Dragons adventures, official adventures, not homebrews, basically put into one book, going from like the original Tomb of Horrors all the way to Against the Giants, which I think was one of the newer ones.
Right on.
And we're basically, I'm the DM, and I have my ranger, a monk, a druid, and a scrublock. That's true.
Poor guy.
And I basically have been putting them through 30 years of Dungeons and Dragons hell. We haven't been recording the podcast, and I want to bring that up to him later on, to even today, about bringing back the podcast and having more content. But DMs and Dice Bags at Twitch, DMs and Dice Bags on YouTube. We also have a Twitter, I think. One of our other people are running that one. I think it's DMs and Dice Bags at Twitter.
Right on.
And yeah, if you guys want to come and watch us nerd out and make stupid jokes, you know where to find us.
Sounds good. All right, thanks, Mike. And thanks for everybody for listening. And as always, you can reach us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at A Topic a Month, or you can email us at the same at Gmail. You can download us on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Thanks for listening, everyone. And as always, have a great night. Oh, and one more thing. We finally got some stickers. We got merch for $5 a piece. If you wouldn't mind buying one, or if you don't want to buy one, I don't really give a shit. That means I get more stickers. Hey, thanks again, everyone.
But I will say it looks really good in your tinfoil hat.
I'm telling you, man, that it's the sparkle on the tree.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.